Let's talk typography. Today, I'll show you how to doodle an art journal page. Then metalsmith Mary Hetmansberger uses old letter stamps to create journals, covers, and other art. Ray Missigman is here to use words and mix up media to create a layered canvas panel. That's all today on Make It Artsy. Build our skills as makers and pump up our creativity. Hi, I'm Julie Faithan Balzer, your host on Make It Artsy. Some of today's most imaginative makers are here for this new season of Make It Artsy. They'll coach us along as we build our artistic muscles and stretch our ingenuity. Today, I'll start off our creative workout with a high-impact journal page that's super easy to do. Because here's the thing, I've carried a notebook in my purse for as long as I can remember because I always like to doodle and to make things. And now I have this really cool idea of how you can sort of pre-plan out to do some art. So this is the page that we're gonna work on. And you can see it's a journaling page with some writing and some doodling, and it has this beautiful moth image. So one of the things that I figured out is with a little bit of prep, I can put this notebook in my purse, and then wherever I am, I can take some time to build it. So to prep, what we're gonna do is we're simply gonna start with a stencil, and it could be a stencil of anything that you like. And you'll notice that this stencil is significantly larger than my tiny notebook, and it doesn't matter. All I'm gonna do is place it onto the page at, a kind of rakish angle here. And then I'm just gonna use a little bit of painter's tape to hold it down. And this next step is something that I like to do when I'm watching TV or something like that. I just go ahead and I trace out the stencil. And to do that, again, it's not hard. All I'm doing is just butting the pen right up against the edge of the stencil. So, and if you go onto the stencil or anything like that, it doesn't matter. This is incredibly forgiving process. So I'm using a brown pen here. You could use a black pen, a blue pen, a red pen, whatever it is that you want to do. You just want something that has a really fine point, so that it gets right, like see these tiny corners right here? That's the only thing, is something with a really fat point, you're gonna have a little bit of trouble getting in there. So I'm just going ahead and I'm gonna trace this whole thing out, and I would take the time to do every single one of these little circles and dabs and all that kind of stuff. And even if it's imperfect, even if you have little places where it didn't work out, it doesn't matter. The point is just to relax and get that traced on there. Then, because this is painter's tape, it's gonna release even from these little notebook pages, no problem. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna flip, and I have one here which is already traced, okay? So now we're gonna get into some simple doodling. So I have a variety of colored pens, and you can just choose what you want to do. I like to work with pigment ink because I tend to drag my hand through stuff, and I find that the pigment ink is just really permanent and easy, and it means that if I drag my hand across it, it's not going everywhere. If you're a person who's a little more careful, which you probably are, then you don't have to worry about that stuff. So you can see that my doodles here are nothing fancy, but it's like when you're flower arranging and one rose is okay, but 30 roses are beautiful. So one line is okay, but 30 lines is just absolutely so cool. So I'm just gonna add all lines in here, and then, maybe we can do something super fancy, which is instead of having the lines go up and down, we'll just do little dash lines around here. So again, it's the same shape, just changing it up. And that creates some nice rhythm and continuity. And again, this is now, all I have to do is in my purse, I simply put this notebook with its pre-traced piece. And then when I'm sitting at the doctor's office, I'm in my car waiting to pick someone up from school or whatever else it is, I can just grab one of these colored pens and go ahead and do a little bit of doodling. So once I have the whole thing doodled in, which I do right here, then maybe it's time to do a little bit of writing or journaling. And so what do you write? This is a question I get all the time. It doesn't have to be deep thoughts. It doesn't have to be Nietzsche. You can just write, your grocery list. So, hey, I'm having a great day. and use your real handwriting. And if you look at this, what you'll see is even though this is my real messy handwriting, and if we look back at the finished piece for just a minute, you can see because of the compartments keeping everything nice and separate, it sort of makes it neat even though it's messy. So this is a great way if you're a naturally messy creator to make things neat.